Welcome back to 808s and Fast Breaks. My name is Jason Amar, here with my good friend Andy Cordell.
Yes, sir, it's me. It's me.
And good to be back. It's been a minute since we've recorded an episode here. You know, life gets in the way sometimes. We've been a little busy. But good to be back talking hoops, and talking music and talking just random shit with you, buddy. And just to kind of give you a quick rundown of the show, we're going to talk about the Warriors just today, within the hour, advancing to the NBA Finals with their victory over the Dallas Mavericks. We'll also talk about just the absolute rock fight of a series that the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat have been over in the East. As we are recording on Thursday, May 26th, Boston leads that series 3-2 with Game 6 in Boston tomorrow. And then we'll go through our finals picks, finals MVP, first looks, what we like there from a betting perspective. We'll hit a couple random replay center questions. But first off, we got to start with some fast break points. And if you aren't already aware, this is when I very quickly, very rapidly throw some news and headlines at Andy that he may or may not have seen already. I don't know. And let's have some quick discussions. And first off, it's actually just kind of a weird question. This was something Alexa brought to my attention from H3's podcast. And I just wanted to include it in this part because this is just, I feel like, a nice way to get us loosened up and talk for a little while. So first question, more of a question than a headline, is in your humble opinion, what is the single most important food to the human race?
Oh, wow.
You didn't see that coming, huh?
No, I'm genuinely surprised. That caught me off guard a little bit.
Yeah, you think we're going to go talk a bunch of hoops and shit? No.
Right.
Oh.
That's a really good question. Personally, for me, I think like the most significant things are probably some form of carb. I think carbs are all around the world, and they always have been. They just come obviously in different forms. I'd just go with rice.
I knew you were going to pick rice.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, simple Asian boy.
Maybe I'm genetically predisposed to liking these grains, but I could eat rice every meal if I really wanted. So,
dude, and honestly, it makes sense too. Like, I can't hate on the pick,
Right.
I think I'm gonna go in a similar vein, just because it's in like everything, even though it shouldn't be. I think you kind of got to go with like wheat or corn.
I was gonna say, were you gonna say corn? Because corn,
yeah, like and it's kind of stupid. It's kind of like I feel like a cop out answer, but it is kind of like if you just like
super
take a step
important
back and look at like all the food that's consumed. If you couldn't use corn, like everything would like collapse. So it's like the single most important food item to the human race.
Right? Yeah, no, I agree. I say either pick.
Yeah,
corn's a little
your
bit
logic
more
works too. Like,
right.
A cheap carb, right, is kind of the base of every meal.
Right, absolutely.
All right, well, so a little fun little
question.
Thing to get us started off here.
That loosened me up for sure. Like,
yeah, nice.
That was cool.
Good,
that was cool.
Well, let's jump into some more of the hoops talk here.
Okay.
Kind of want to start off with the draft lottery. So as of last week, the draft lottery order has been set. And I can pull up the whole order and if you want to, but
I'm pulling it up as well.
Top four is the Orlando Magic with the number 1 pick. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder with the number 2 pick. Then you got the Houston Rockets with the number 3 pick. The Sacramento Kings with the number 4 pick. They jumped up into the top 4. And then the Pistons fell out of that top 3 group, and they have the 5th pick. I can't remember the rest of it off the top of my head. I'm honestly
Indiana.
surprised I had off memory.
Top 5. That's pretty good. 6 is Indiana. 7 is Portland. 8 is New Orleans, 9 is San Antonio, 10 is Washington, 11 is New York. God damn, New York has some shitty luck. Jesus. And Oklahoma City Thunder at 12. So they get the
Okay.
second and the 12th pick.
What about 13 and 14 just to round it out?
Charlotte for 13, 14 for Cleveland.
Cleveland. Okay.
Yep.
So I mean, let's just, I think a quick way to approach this. Like, what do you, based on how things shook out with the ping pong balls, like, who do you think has the most exciting opportunity in the draft? And then on the, like, kind of the other side of the coin, who do you think kind of got boned a little bit?
Cop out answer for boned. Everybody knows Portland, right?
Yeah.
Like, damn, like we traded CJ and Nance to Orleans hoping we get a little more, but you could just see it in Dame's face, obviously, at the lottery.
Yeah, it was tough. And because the belief was that you'd end up with 2 lottery picks, right? One of New Orleans and then kind of war chest of picks.
Right. Yeah, in terms of like my most interesting, I actually think Orlando has the most interesting pick. Like, I'm going to be honest, it's like, you know, we have the 3 players. We know who those 3 players are.
And just for the audience, because they may not know, that's Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga. That's Paolo Banchero out of Duke. And then that's Jabari Smith Jr. out of Auburn. Those are kind of like the consensus top 3 guys. And that's not to say that, like, you know, someone else in the draft won't have a better career, but that's kind of like, you know, among the league, there's a little drop off after that, those 3 guys.
Right. And I think what's kind of interesting this year, right, is like every single one of them have, like, in my opinion, like extreme strengths, but they still have like weaknesses across the board, right? Paulo, great shot creator, big, but there's a concern about his health.
And his defense.
And his defense, right? But specifically with his health and dehydrating, losing almost like 7 pounds.
Dude, that's like super overblown, honestly.
You think so?
Not a big deal. It was literally like the first 2 games of the college season, and then it was fine.
I was scared because, like, cramping up, like,
he's fine.
That shit hurts. So, you know,
it was overblown.
Okay, if it was overblown, then maybe, because, like, I was just worried, like, man, like, that would really suck if he's, like, cramping up, you know what I mean? Because he's such a gifted scorer.
It has it's not listed as a weakness, literally, on anything, you know. So
okay, good.
It's not a concern.
But I think Orlando,
the defense and the threes,
right? And for Orlando, it's kind of like their history is trying to find these lengthy players, like even at their position, kind of lengthy, and you know, everyone's kind of like, you know, Chet is looking very enticing and it's kind of an Orlando fit, right? But I think they have like a really, really big decision to make, because that determines where the other 2 go. Because I do think, as of right now, Chet's going to go number 1 to Orlando. Yeah.
I disagree.
Okay.
I mean, it's fair, but I disagree. I think it's going to be Jabari.
He'd be a great fit.
Yeah, I think Jabari is the number 1. He's currently the betting favorite to be the number 1 pick too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was Givony, however you say that insider's name. You know who I'm talking about. He had a tweet the other day that said everyone knows who the top 3 is, but everyone in the league would be like super surprised if the Magic didn't pick Jabari Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, and I'm also just kind of partial because he's my favorite guy out of those 3.
I respect
because I see a little bit of like Jason Tatum, you know. I see that arc for him, you know, because like right now it's kind of the same knocks that Tatum had coming out in the draft, where he wasn't the best ball handler, a little turnover prone, right, a little stiff, but he can get to his spots, he can create shots, all that stuff. So I just think it'd be super cool to see. I'm excited to see him come into the league and see what he can do. And I think he has a lot more defensive potential, even more than Tatum did coming out, even though Tatum's become an amazing defensive player. And we don't know if Jabari Smith will reach that now. But just assessing them as draft prospects, Jabari Smith has more defensive potential than Tatum did when he came out. But to kind of revisit the original question, I think the other team that I think is like super super interesting has like we talked about it on the Over the Hedge podcast with Ian, right? But it's more so I think you got to look at the Kings. Like
Oh yeah, at
they
4.
moved Halliburton, they got Sabonis, they have this nucleus now with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. They have the new coach with Mike Brown, and like boom, and they have the number 4 pick. Like that's kind of sick. And like I don't like all the talk that it could be Shaden Sharp. I think that maybe they should go with like don't try and hit the home run. Maybe just try and hit a double sort of shit. Like maybe look at Matherin or one of those other wings. I don't know. I just like Matherin, but like even someone like Sochin could be good. Like that could be a reach up for, but I like him too. A sure thing. Like they need to make the playoffs. So I just think
Right.
what are they going to do is kind of another cool storyline that I'm going to be looking at, is especially as we like look more at prospects. And looking in the future, we'll definitely have a podcast episode where we geek out and just talk about all of our favorite draft prospects ahead of the draft. But
this year
anything
is
else
cool.
you want to mention about the lottery or teams?
No, not really. I mean, more than anything, I can't wait to kind of really just kind of do a deep dive. You know, like
For sure.
because I'm gonna do the lottery. I'm gonna go till 14. You know, because like that's kind of the draft analysis you want to go for. We're not like trying to dissect the whole college basketball.
We aren't that
like,
crazy.
group. Yeah, but
I think we should both
14,
make a mock draft and kind of see how they compare, or like a
Oh
big
yeah,
board of the top 14. That'd be
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
fun.
That'd be kind of cool for comparison. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. That'd
let's
be
make
tight.
it. Oh yeah, let's commit to that.
Yeah,
We
I'm
have it
down.
on recording.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, we'll both make mock drafts and compare in the next month here before the draft.
Mhm.
In other news, though, we'll hit this one real quick. This is actually Portland news. I don't know if you just saw this today. Also centered around the front office and draft. Portland just hired ESPN draft expert Mike Schmitz as assistant GM.
Oh, that's kind of tight.
Isn't that sick? And
That's kinda
for those who
badass.
don't know, and I know some of the people who are going to be listening to this are fans of the Portland Trailblazers, that's a huge pickup for Portland. Mike Schmitz is like a renowned international and college basketball draft scout. He has great relationships overseas. He has a great eye for talent. He was one of the first people on Luka Doncic, and we know that turned out. He's one of the first people on Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama. That's a tough name to say, man. It's a tongue twister. But he's going to be draft eligible in 2023. The France prospect just turned 18, I think. So maybe that's like hinting towards Portland's going to tank. Maybe Dame doesn't work out. I know we've been saying maybe they're going to trade him, right? Like maybe they're looking at like really looking at the future, and you know, if that's the guy that Mike likes, then I don't know, dude. It's just like it's got some like cool energy for me in Portland.
Oh yeah.
And
It's
maybe
brewing, dude.
maybe Cronin isn't the idiot I thought he was. If he's bringing in smart people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You got to acknowledge if people are good at their job. Like, you know, and bring people that are smarter than you onto the party. That's what we need at this point. Because stagnation has been always like the biggest problem for us. And
Exactly.
we need a
Status quo
full
wasn't
reset.
going to do it.
Yeah, we need a full reset. And I've already said with that whole bit, we have it on TikTok, by the way, about me personally thinking that we should trade Dame as a Portland fan. But it's really needed now because we haven't committed to a full reset in so long.
True. We're in the middle right now, and it's not a good place to be.
Not worst place to be.
Yeah. All right. Last kind of thing I wanted to talk about here before we kind of just start recapping the playoff series, the conference final series so far, is there's kind of been like a lot of like Twitter talk and like Reddit talk about how like the playoff schedule hasn't been like that great as a fan, like how their games every single day. That maybe there should have been like a gap, travel day break for the players. Also, just kind of like fans being exhausted at this point, like trying to follow everything. Because we're like 6 weeks into the playoffs, 5.5 weeks into the playoffs at this point. So it's like, you know, we've just been watching basketball every day.
It's a
um,
lot.
and I know like the whole tagline is 40 games and 40 nights, but what do you think? Like, are you? I'll phrase it like this: do you agree with the people who are kind of complaining a little bit about it, or are you like, nah, this is how it is. This is kind of sick. Like,
I
where do
will
you
say
land?
it's hard for me to keep up sometimes at this point, right? It's like, like in the NBA season, you go hard in the beginning, right? Because you're trying to figure out where everybody stands. You're trying to make your predictions and you're trying to analyze the teams. You go middle of the season, you start to die down a little bit. Then you have a few like really big games like Christmas, right? Things where it kind of jolts you back. But it is kind of a tough schedule. I think both for the players and for fans because it's almost like you don't hold like any form of like resentment or anything, but it's kind of just like, oh, let's just get to the finals and let's just get our answer now, right? And so,
Really? Damn.
yeah,
I don't know.
well,
Maybe I'm just like a sicko, like a basketball sicko, but I'm just like I just still kind of love it. I'm just like I look forward to like around 4 o'clock when I can like start looking at like pregame shit and then getting ready for the game, kind of like wrapping up what I'm doing to start watching the games, like for the
mm,
last month or so. I just kind of enjoy it. It's like becomes part of my routine.
routine. That's the
I
thing.
haven't
It
really
does
missed any of
become
the
your routine.
games. Like
Yeah,
I had a couple obligations, right? But like that's just normal. Like
right,
so I don't know. Like I think it's just because I'm so entrenched as an NBA fan, that
right,
I don't
right.
I just love it too much. But
I mean, but
yeah,
even like a day here and
a day.
there,
No, I will
you know what I'm saying? That's like
agree
what I'm
that like a
asking
day
for.
break for especially like for the travel days for the players. Like at this stage, like I think they should probably get a break. I'm on that boat,
Mm.
and I think one day like would have been cool. And I also think my only other gripe is that like I wish last weekend we would have gotten morning games instead of evening games on Saturdays and Sunday.
Oh yeah,
Just
for
because
sure.
that's like I don't know, it's kind of a vibe to watch basketball in like the early morning or afternoon.
Right, right.
But yeah, that's kind of it. Otherwise, I'm
Mm.
pretty cool with it.
Yeah,
But let's
yeah,
just kind
yeah.
of transition right into talking the actual hoops. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, today we had the Warriors knocking down the Mavericks, and they're officially in the NBA Finals, which I believe
Yup.
start on June 2nd, June 1st or June 2nd. Let's go with June 2nd.
Mm.
Um, but I know you just watched that game. I just watched that game. And it's been like a week since we talked on air. So where are you at? Like, I know we had so everyone knows, we had a little side bet on this series. I had a $10 wager with Andy that the Mavericks would win, and he was on the Warriors side. So I had to pony up today. But
Yup.
what
Yup.
what are you thinking, man? Are you like, yeah, that's what I thought, or like anything else you want to dig into with this one?
Well, I mean, at 6 minutes there at this last game, it was a 13-point game. Like you had, like we saw that run that just sparked a little bit of hope. Uh, I actually, okay, you know what? Can I take it slightly out of pocket here
Yeah,
because
do what
this
you got to do,
this will
man.
this
That's what
will
having a
lead.
podcast is about.
Okay, so I was talking to Weems right while we were watching the game, and I was just kind of like, I really love what Jalen Brunson has done with Dallas, but if there was any type of way that they could get another star with Luca, and that's like everybody's answer, right? Like you can tell like Luca is fucking tired, right? And even though all of these players have stepped up, like it can't compensate for like an all-star, like a superstar leveled player, to be in those types of positions. And I
Hmm.
think like a possible thing with Jalen is like he is a smaller player and he's been an animal going into the paint with his footwork and doing everything, but he did struggle tonight. And it's just kind of the thing where you go deeper and deeper and deeper into the playoffs, they're going to try to beat up some of the smaller players. It's just always like a thing that happens. And
No, definitely. I think you kind of saw that across the board. with the Mavs today, and just like the
Mm-hmm.
Warriors' depth was on display, right? Like Otto Porter goes
Absolutely.
down. He's a he's a key bench guy, but he's also like not not the end up the reason they're going to win anything really.
Mm-hmm.
He goes down, and they just plug and play Moses Moody and Kuminga, right? Give Bielitsa a little bit more minutes, and he was fucking amazing today. He was beating
Yeah.
up Luka.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that was on display when you see that from the Warriors, and then like you're saying, Brunson couldn't like get past Looney in spots, and like
Mm-hmm.
wasn't getting past Wiggins in spots, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have like Bullock, who's been playing like 45 minutes a game.
So insane.
He's been, just like if you're a shooter, you play that punch, like shots are going to go short at some point. So I think, like you're saying, that's like, it's just a good observation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just because they're so fucked from a salary cap perspective,
I know.
you have to look
I
at
know.
like, okay, they're going to probably retain Brunson. That's got to be a goal of theirs, right? Or trade him for pieces. And then they get Hardaway back from injury. That's going to be a key piece. And they're all in on the small ball thing. Like I'm not like the biggest fan of watching it. I've talked with you about that. Like sometimes I think it gets boring to watch. But they're all in on it. Like I can respect that they've committed to the style,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that whether it's getting a superstar or like what we talked about with the 76ers, if they're going to if they were going to trade Harden, it's like maybe the move is like trading those like that guy, like you're just getting depth, like that, maybe that's what you got to do. Like, and knowing Luka is good enough to, be 30, 10 and 10 and lead you all the way. But as long as you give him 3-minute breaks and you don't lose the game because of those 3-minute breaks, they're good. They made it to the fucking conference finals this year, man.
Right. I know. And what I wanted to say, going back to what we like kind of acknowledged with Jalen, like there's limitations to how good he can be. Um, I had a player in mind. I don't know how salary would work, but I have a player in mind that I think if you traded to Dallas, they'd be fighting for the Western Conference like every year for the
Market
next.
is this going to be for a TikTok video?
Well, okay, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I'm just like feeling it out, right? Is there any way that Dallas can try to attempt to get Bradley Beal?
That's super interesting, actually. Another trade though with the Wizards, like they already traded Kristaps there,
and I 100% agree. But also at the same time with Washington, they're kind of in a like really weird position to be in, right? Because they're not like tanky bad, but they're like not making the playoffs either. It's a weird spot to be in.
Well, here, hey, and before you go any further, I'll say I love the idea, but I gotta imagine that's what they were trying to do originally when they traded Porzingis,
and
they settled for Dinwiddie.
Right. Right.
I think there's no way they went into that saying we really want to get Dinwiddie. They wanted
for sure. And it was just a thought though, because
no, I love the idea.
It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. And I'm just like, wow, Bradley's like perfect next to Luka because he's learned being in Washington after John Wall has been out, how much better of a playmaker he's become and how much more responsible he is with the ball handling abilities. But he's still retained the skill to be an off-ball player, like a really good one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So perfect match with Luka. Yeah.
No, I agree. So kind of taking a step back, looking at it at a kind of a high level here. We had Dallas, they lose to 4-1 to the Warriors. The Warriors are going to be going to their 6th finals in the last 8 years. Like,
congratulations.
That's so insane, And you had Clay doing his thing. I think he hit 7 threes today. He had 32 points. He looked like Clay.
God.
You had Draymond scoring, looking like Draymond. You had Poole just dancing on folks. You have the Wiggins playing crazy solid defense. Looney was rebounding. They look like they're firing on all cylinders. So we're gonna shift gears here and talk about Celtics Heat, but just like real quick, like You see anyone beating the Warriors right now out of those two teams?
Um,
The way they're playing, like the way the way
if
they're
they play
playing the
like
last few
this,
games.
if they play like this, bro, like Steph went 5 of 17 and they still looked amazing. Like it's a lot to ask
It's
for a team
crazy.
to be ready to handle that. Because if Steph makes like, two more threes, like shit, like they're blowing out, like
Yeah,
it's
and
it's,
I think
it's
the
insane.
bigger story is the way that they've been able to play those like different defensive looks, right? The different
Right.
zone coverages they were doing, the 3-2 and the 2-2-1 traps. Like it was cool, honestly, to watch. It wasn't just like basic ass like NBA regular season shit that you see all 80, for 6 months, 82
Right.
games.
Just
Like
switch,
it was
switch,
really, yeah,
switch.
it was really,
Yeah.
really cool. They
Yeah.
attacked the Dallas offense, which is really like modern traditional now, hyper
Mm-hmm.
traditional, like what the modern NBA is doing. Then they kind of like found really unique ways to stop it, I think. And like honestly going to be things that like coaches are watching and probably take in the next season.
Yeah.
Um, so that was really cool. Let's kind of show real quick before we shift gears for the new Western Conference Finals, like Magic Johnson Award MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP. Steph
Yeah.
Curry took that home, the first version of that award. Just wanted to shout that out.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to him, and then
Yeah.
also just kind of like I think we gotta like give the Mavericks their flowers too. Like no one thought they were gonna make it to the conference finals. I just want to like make sure we like say that we aren't just like
Yeah.
immediately like jumping into how they can be better and like all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be proud of what they just did.
No, unbelievable. Like
Yeah,
unbelievable that they made it here.
crazy
Like, gonna
run,
be honest.
honestly.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. So let's shift gears, move over to the East here. So we've got Boston up 3-2. They just had, I don't know if you would call it commanding. I'm gonna call it commanding, even though it was just kind of a gross basketball game. Like a pretty solid win in game 5, 93-80. You don't see that score line too much these days. So Tatum almost had one assist shy of a triple double in that game. He still got Tyler Hero out. It's kind of been just like an infirmary, honestly, this basketball series. It's players in and out, injured, testing if they're able to play right before the games. So we'll see what it looks like for game 6. I don't think we'll really know until right before tip off, but where are you kind of like leaning for this game 6? Just from taking what you saw and like I will say games 4 and 5, out of the Celtics. Do you think they close it out in game 6 on their home court, or you think this goes to 7? And let me know kind of what you think it hinges on. I think that's kind of the biggest question.
Mm-hmm. I think if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Boston closes it out. But caveat, some of Miami's like really important key players had probably the worst shooting nights of their lives. Right? Max Strus, who's played good minutes for them all season, has stepped up in so many occasions. Went
Taking
0 of
Duncan Robinson's job.
yeah, taking a guy that makes what 90 million,
90 million.
yeah, and said fuck you. Like no, I'm a dog.
Yeah.
He went 0 of 9 from the field.
He has
Kyle
him and
Lowry?
Lowry haven't made a field goal, I think. Or I
No.
think they made one field goal combined in 2 games or something crazy like that.
It's crazy. Like, because, like the thing was, if you like really think about Miami on paper, you're like, damn, they got a lot of switchable players, like players that can go in and out of the lineup and just a lot of chemistry there. And unfortunately, some of those players, like, there was like a little bit of hope here and there throughout the playoffs of like Victor Oladipo kind of looking sometimes like he's getting there. But
he looks really good on defense.
Yeah, which is, I mean, like, he led the league in steals when he was on the Pacers, right? If I remember correctly, he was.
I don't know. I don't remember honestly, but
He was like a steals leader. It was like something insane. But when those players have really bad shooting nights, because Miami, like, you can't shovel the ball to Butler all the time and expect something to happen. He was 4 of 18. Like, of course they're gonna double team your best player and try to make it super hard for him. But they got to capitalize on that. But Boston's
Yeah.
been so good
No, and
defensively
just
too.
just to throw out some numbers too, because I just pulled it up to kind of support exactly what you're saying, dude. Like for the series, Miami's only averaging 98 points a game. They're shooting 40% from the field. This is for this whole series. 40% from the field and 29% from three. That's
Oh
it,
my
right?
God. Shout out to Boston's defense,
Yeah.
man. They are seriously dogs to like
and
push them.
Kyle
that
Lowry's
far.
hurt too.
Yep.
Gabe Vincent's been a bright spot. I think he's looked really good.
Yep.
I think the other part of this too, dude, it really hinges on if Tyler Hero plays. He's had that groin injury. And I think I saw some tweet or report saying that if it was the regular season, he'd probably be out like 2 to 4 weeks, but he's been trying to get back. So I think even if he plays tomorrow, he's no way he looks like 100% himself. But if he can give them anything,
like just 10 points or something,
it's needed, dude. Yeah, even
like
just like
anything.
decoy shit, running 10 points and 4 assists.
Yeah,
is gonna be
something
huge.
like that would be huge for him.
So they need their 6 man, just to kind of orchestrate some of the offense, take some of the pressure off Jimmy Butler, because kind of similar to what we were saying about those Dallas players, he looks tired, dude. He looks really tired.
Yeah.
So I know me and you both picked Miami in this series. I think we both thought it was going to go 7. So feeling good about that still.
Sure.
But I'm kind of with you. I think my money would lie with Boston closing this out. I've just been way too impressed. Let's kind of flip the coin here and talk about the Celtics more. I've been way too impressed with what Jason Tatum's done. After that really shitty, I think it was a game 3 or 4 that he had. Here, I'll look it up. Yeah, it was game 3 where he just shot abysmally. 3 of 14, 1 of 7, right? He only had 10 points. Since then, he's been awesome, whether that's leading from a playmaking perspective, hitting crazy shots. Jaylen Brown coughing up the ball a little bit too much. Like his
handle needs to improve.
His handles
even more.
Victor Oladipo's been feasting on him. Is kind of what it is too.
Yeah, facts.
But he's been great still. Smart's been awesome. Horford's been just like their energy guy, along with Williams, the Williams boys. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards them closing it out too, revising my pick, but I think it would be cool to see this go 7. The only reason I don't want it to go 7, and I like really feel this hard, like I really want Boston to win
for the finals, right?
Is just because I need the finals to be good. Yeah. I need it to be good.
These are deep runs,
and I do not want like some beat up. Both Miami and Boston are beat up. We just talked about it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and they need time. So if it's Boston, Marcus Smart needs to get that ankle iced. Jaylen Brown, I think, has like a hurt wrist or something. Tatum's got that shoulder. They all need to chill for a few days. I think they probably get till. Let me actually look at this. I have the calendar pulled up. Game 1 of the NBA Finals is June 2nd. So they're going to get till next Wednesday. If they can close it out, they get 5 days of rest, which would be huge at this stage because the Warriors are already getting 6.
Yeah. And you know what I actually honestly worry about too? Like as teams progress into series way longer than expected is like right now Boston is having a lot of success with Miami playing kind of like really big with Williams and Horford on the floor. And
because Miami's having to play so small. I think they made that adjustment too, right?
Right. Now here's the thing. Miami's been shooting terrible, but commend the Boston defense and just making everything difficult. That's not going to work against the Warriors, who are well rested. And if they even sniff Robert Williams can't keep with us on the floor, we're talking about blowout potential. And that would really suck for me.
Well, it's just different too, right? Like you look at someone like Grant Williams, right? Grant Williams and Al Horford, right? I think you can look at it and be like, outside of the the big 2 guys, like those 2 guys have been like really, really effective throughout their playoff run, right? Mostly on the defensive side. And it's because if you look at the guys they've had to neutralize throughout this series, it's been these really big wings. Giannis, who's really more not a wing, he's a freak, right?
Durant
but then you have Durant,
yeah,
right? And even like Drew Holiday, you could argue like play is more like a wing than a true guard, you know?
Yeah.
In the way they were able to guard him. So now you just have a completely, and then Miami, right, with Jimmy Butler and Bam, and it's
PJ
they're able to like
body
these guys, and they have their best defensive guys match up, right? But I'm leaving out one pretty key defensive guy here, the defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, right? Mm-hmm. Now he has to be the most important guy, assuming they make it through and play the Warriors, right? Because the Warriors' key guys aren't wings.
Yeah, they're guards.
So Smart becomes so important. So that's like just to reiterate why that rest is so important. Mm-hmm. If he has to play on a bum ankle, Curry is going to destroy him, run him around in circles off screens.
And I would say, too, it's like your backup point guard's Derek White, and he's a pretty damn good defender. But if, like, that's what you're relying on, like, 100%, and you guys aren't rested, there are going to be moments where the Warriors just go fucking crazy. And it's just a tough ask for Boston right now. Like, they're pushing so hard. Like, I have to give them all the credit. Jason's ready. Jalen's ready. They're ready to do this. But it's just, damn, some of these series matchups really matter. It's what really determines the series. And
Definitely.
Like every single round that Boston has gone through has been a hurdle. It's been a lot. So, shout out to them.
For sure.
It this far. Yeah.
For sure. And let's kind of look at it from a different angle in our kind of like pseudo finals preview that we got going here. Mm-hmm. If you were going to look at finals MVP, and if you had to just pick one guy, who would you be like putting your money on? Whether the Celtics or Heat make it through. We know the Warriors are in, and you could pick someone on the Celtics or Heat still too. But if you were going to pick one guy who you were like, yeah, if I was going to throw $10 down on a finals MVP, it's got to be this dude. Who would you pick?
Steph.
Yeah.
It would be Steph this year. Because look, he's never won one.
Yeah,
he's brought his team this far, dude. And the progression.
And I think we've said it enough. His team is the favorite, becoming the favorite now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So yeah,
who would you put number 2? If you were Vegas and you were making the odds, who do you think would have the second best odds to win finals MVP? Like right now, what do you think the books say? We don't need to look at it. I'm just kind of curious. What do you think?
Jason Tatum, probably. I think he has to be up there.
Who?
Tatum.
Yeah, I think it's Tatum. It's probably Steph, Tatum, Butler, Jalen, Clay.
Yeah,
that's just like off the top. I think that's got to be
the top. That's like that sounds reasonable, but you never know with the Finals MVP. Like Iguodala won it one year.
True.
So there's always an anomaly.
I'm gonna look at it now because I'm curious. Because I can't help myself. Damn. Finals MVP odds. Steph Curry is the best. I don't know what you call it. Highest odds, best odds, lowest odds, whatever the fuck.
Finals MVP, yeah.
Yeah, plus 110. Then you got Tatum at plus 180. Then Jaylen Brown at plus 950. And then Klay Thompson plus 1500. And then Draymond plus 1700.
I was gonna say Draymond's the only other player I think could even be in consideration for it, but it would be much like an Iguodala type of against LeBron. It'd be like Draymond, like absolutely clamping the fuck out of all of them. Yeah,
I got you. All I'll say on this is I'm hurt that Kevon Looney is not in the books.
The disrespect.
At least put him down for plus 100,000, right?
Oh my god, dude, this man has been eaten. He's like, seriously though, like I know, sometimes when I like watch him just like rebound, like how hard he hustles, Like
No,
he'd
he
be like,
goes in, dude.
yeah, like he'll be like 3 steps away from the ball, and this guard is like holding, you know, he like guards holding, trying to push him back. He'll just shove him. Give me the
And I'll
ball.
push him.
Kick out, kick out, kick out. Every time. It's amazing, dude. That's a hustle player right there.
No, for sure. For sure. All right. So that'll close out our kind of conference finals / NBA finals discussion here. And we'll be back. I think Ian was just texting me the other day seeing if we wanted to come back on next week and do finals
lovely.
preview with them. So
Sounds
I think
lovely.
maybe we'll do that, and we'll probably have a little something on our feed as well here. But stay tuned. And let's kind of close out this podcast today with some replay center questions. Do you want to do one or two? What are you feeling? I'll leave it up to you.
I mean, two's fine. I mean,
You want to do two?
yeah. I mean, we've been we're doing really great on time, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty chill. All right. So we'll do one music and one basketball again. So we can mix in a little music here. And again, the replay center, the theme here is to kind of take a deep dive and look at things real critically. And again, Andy doesn't know what question I'm going to pick. And even I don't know what question I'm going to pick. These are all random.
Nice.
All right, let's see what we get here. What is the best artist that you've seen in concert? That's what I've got. So take some time to think about it. Best artist that you've seen in concert. I already kind of know what's coming to my mind, I think. You seem to be thinking quite a bit.
When you mean best artist, do you mean like
best performance that you've seen in concert?
Okay, because that was gonna be kind of my clarifying thing.
Yeah, what is the best live performance that you've been to? I think would be a better way to phrase it.
All right, for sure. I already know my answer then.
Like okay, what do you got? What is okay? Let me say it again. Let me say it again. What is your favorite or best concert experience?
It was XXX.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
When we went to together.
Yes. Dope. Now, I've definitely been to some really dope concerts, but when I tell you, like, R.I.P. Jose Onfroy, really cool dude.
The doc just came out.
That's just a money-making scheme, dude. I don't want to support any of it.
You're still going to watch it.
Yeah, I am. But fuck, that's fucked, dude. Anyway, I will say, though, like, in terms of, like, capturing a crowd, I've never seen such crowd control and energy. Like, it was like, I don't think he was faking. I feel like there are some performers that like kind of have to push a little bit, but with him, it was so natural. And at the time when we went to his concert, he was making a lot of the harder, older music, right? The kind of like letting the rage out. And he was able to navigate that so well. So that was probably my favorite performance.
I can understand the pick. That was a fun ass concert.
It was.
We lost each other for a little bit there, I think.
Oh my god, it was crazy. It was the craziest show. It was insane.
But I think mine's another hip hop artist, but it's different. Definitely different. I think it's someone that I've seen multiple times. My favorite concert experience was Chance the rapper.
And
Chance. It was I've seen him a few times, and it was his coloring book tour.
Such a good album.
And it was just because then like I saw him on the right after Acid Rap too, and that's like still my favorite album from
That's
Chance.
his best album.
But Coloring Book Tour was just something else, dude. The way he tapped into things like emotionally and got you, like I was just telling Alexa about it, like like the post-concert depression feeling, right? When it's over. That was like the most, when I saw him in Seattle on that tour, that was like the most I've ever felt that, where I was just like, I do not want this to be over. I'm like vibing with everyone around me. Like, I fuck with everything he's saying. I fuck with the music. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it was just such a great time. Like we were smoking some joints. Like it was such a great time. You know what I mean?
I was just gonna ask. So obviously, I haven't seen Chance perform. But is he in any type of way like loving and like preachy in a way? Because he does identify as a Christian rapper.
I mean,
Um,
again, this was like 2016, so
that's
like
fair.
I don't
Okay,
know if he's changed in the way he performs, right? Obviously
but
his music's
but
kind of
then,
different now.
yeah, but then was he kind
But
of like that?
then I wouldn't say it was like preachy in that way. I'm not,
Mm,
I'm not religious at all,
right, right.
but I would say it was very like motivating, you know,
Inspiring.
inspiring. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Just made you feel good, you
right,
know.
right, right.
It,
He's
it
he's
I
that guy.
remember when I left, I was like, damn, that kind of did make me want to like go to a church, you know. And like I can relate to, well, some of the elements that are like beautiful about religion after it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but still not gonna go.
Yeah, I be feeling the same way when I listen to Donda, because honestly, I go
Yeah,
back to that album a lot, and there are some songs that make me feel so good.
it's
It's just
just
a
nice, dude. Sometimes
choir, just
it's funny
beautiful.
that it's funny that it's like the opposite of the concert you chose,
Oh, for sure. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. But dude, if I could live that rage again, like just for like 5 minutes, you know what I mean?
I
Because
got you. Let
honestly,
it all out. It's like
let it all
breaking shit
out.
in a china shop.
And it's just like the mosh pits. It's kind of ignorant and absolutely ridiculous, but you know what I mean. Just got to do it every once in a
Yep.
while. Yeah.
All right, let's do our basketball question now.
Okay, dude, I really liked your answer. I was thinking of so many artists because you've seen a lot more than me, actually.
I've
So
been to a lot of concerts, honestly.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
like trying to
So
brag or anything, but when I think about
yeah,
it, I was just like,
you've
damn,
been
it's
to a
kind of hard.
lot. So I'm just kind of thinking, and plus you would go to some of those festivals where you can see many artists, right? So that kind of helps a little bit. But
Yeah, no, for
yeah,
sure.
just Chance was
Because
not
I
even my
saw Chance
realm.
in a couple of festival environments too, but on his tour, it was just something else.
Something else. Yeah, dude, that's tight. That's tight.
But all right, let's pick one other one from a basketball perspective here, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
I think for this one, let's do a ranking. I'm just gonna pick this one because I'm kind of excited about it.
Okay.
Let's do the top 5 basketball all time.
Right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel good. I feel
it's
good
not
on it.
hard. You know what I mean? It's like I think compared. We just like I think last podcast we did top 5 music artists of all time from
Right.
personally. And that's I
Right.
think way more difficult to pin down than for basketball.
Hmm.
So I'm comfortable going first on this one if you want to like take some
Sure.
time
Sure. Sure.
to like review it in your head.
I'd love to hear it.
So top
Wait,
5 players of all time.
In order,
Yeah,
just to
in order.
clarify. Okay, in
Yeah,
order. Okay.
this is in order.
Okay.
Number 1 has to be
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. Number 2 is LeBron. Number 3 is Kareem. Number 4 is Kobe. And number 5, I'd go Russell.
Like Bill, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
honestly, no, I'll alter that. I want to go Russell ahead of Kobe, so Kobe would be 5th.
Kobe would be 5th.
Yeah. So just to recap my list: top 5 NBA players of all time: Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, and then Kobe Bryant. That's 1 through 5 in order. And that's taking into account everything, like skill, cultural impact, just all of it, like just greats.
Right.
So
I think.
you do yours now. You do yours.
Oh God. Okay, so I think Mike at 1, like
No brainer.
undoubted, undoubted. Okay, still a strong 1. It's hard for me to say, but I will say LeBron at 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you got to be objective, right?
I got to be objective, right? But I'm going to share this last one, okay? Number 3, Number 3, Kareem. Okay. I looked at my okay. Number 4, Kobe.
Okay.
And at 5, Shaq.
I can respect it. I don't agree, but I can respect it.
Okay, just to justify my reasoning here, because the league only up to a short amount of time has been always dominated by big men. And there's a lot of great big men. Now, of course, I was born in 97. You were born in 98, right?
No, 97.
97. Oh, yeah. You're just like super late in
I'm just November.
Yeah, November. Yeah, okay. But if you kind of look at it, like throughout the observable time that we've been able to understand like basketball, kind of watch it and acknowledge it, I think Shaq still was the most physically imposing and unstoppable force the league had seen.
I can agree. I can agree with that statement.
And that alone, now his peak was like pretty damn good, but like, you know, some of those Laker years, like later Orlando years, like where he was just unstopped. I think if you put me in that scenario and you gave me that Shaq, I'd be like, yeah, top 5 of all time.
That's fair. I think if you look at it like that, I just have I have a different way of looking at it. The whole career,
whole career, and I understand Shaq did fall short a little bit.
Yeah,
and it was really pretty towards the
end. And I want to know who would have been like 6 and 7 for you, like as like honorable mentions. You know,
like
my
I already know those
two.
two.
Like I really wanted to do Magic and Bird.
Okay, Magic and Bird would be right after Shaq.
I think that like
Larry.
for me, like if I was going to continue it, you'd go Magic, Bird.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd probably have Steph and Shaq and Wilt. You know, they'd probably like round out the 10 if I just off the top.
Off top, because I'm pretty similar boat, right? I would probably add Russell in there, like Bill Russell. Right?
Yeah, for me, it'd be a shame. You gotta have.
Bill Russell you have to have him, and then, dude, there's so many good players. I think Tim Duncan has to be up there.
That's
You know, and like I don't know, I really like bigs, like historical bigs, like what they accomplished and what they did. Like, dude, like,
you got Hakeem.
That's what I was just about to say. Hakeem, bro. Like, I know I wasn't alive, but when I watched the highlights of this fucking behemoth, like looking like a gazelle, I'm like,
crazy dude.
He could play in anytime. It won't matter. It won't matter. Like, you know, he's legend. Crazy.
But yeah, no, that's a fun one.
Yeah,
I like that you had Shaq on there because it's gonna be like controversial and different. But like you could the way you kind of you had a little like kind of caveat to it the way you're thinking about it. But like with that, you can't really argue it. I think when you put that next to it.
Right. So, it's just I like it. I like comparing peaks. Because I think sometimes careers cannot end out the way that they want to. And of course, like winning championships and things like that matter. But like in terms of peak, where they're the best, that's where I like to kind of compare the greatest.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Just a different way of thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, man, that'll wrap up episode 13 here.
Yes, sir.
Kind of crazy. 13 episodes in. Mm-hmm. And I
Many
think
more
we'll
to
probably
come.
Get a few more in here before we finish up the playoffs, and like finals probably wrap up at like mid-June, right? And we'll do some draft stuff, and then I think the plan is kind of for us to take some time and like really like hone this and improve it and come back with some dope shit for the next NBA season. And
Absolutely.
Have a cool little channel going here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. Anything you want to add here before we close out, Andy?
Nope. Super happy. This is it, guys. We're in the final stretch, you know?
Yep. We done did it. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more. And yeah, we appreciate it. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.